Joining me now is Royal Editor for the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Russell, I spoke with the panel earlier about Royal Ascot. You were actually in attendance. What was it like on the ground?
Oh, hi, Karen. Well, it was great. I mean, the weather played nice for once, and we got a couple of winners in amongst the day, so fantastic day. But great to see, the Royals out in force. It's been a real sort of family affair over the last few days, and certainly great to see the King and Queen. Prince William was there during the week as well, the Middleton family. And, I think that shows you there's a lot of unity going on with this family at the moment.
Absolutely. And Russell, the news in the UK at the moment feels all royals, politics and football. Some footage of King Frederick and Prince William hanging out at the England-Denmark game. They go back a long way, don't they?
Well, they do indeed, and they were putting rivalries aside, it seems, especially just before the game. There was some pleasantries exchanged. I'm sure there was a bit of banter about who was going to win. It finished a draw. England didn't play the best. Hopefully there's going to be a better scoreline later on in the week. But this is definitely something that William is trying to do. I think he's sort of extending the handship to the sort of European monarchies. He definitely does favour the model of the slimmed-down European monarchies, and that's something his father has obviously sort of tried to get across over the last few years. We've been speaking about slimmed-down monarchy for quite a while now. And that, this sort of arm of friendship is very much in line with William's role as a statesman as well.
Absolutely, it is. Now, we've spoken on more than one occasion about the royal visit to Australia and surrounds in October. Now, we understand you have an update for us.
Well, I do, and there's going to be excitement for the Aussies. Absolutely, I know that the competition is hotting up between the states and territories. A lot of government and charitable organisations very, very interested in hosting the King and Queen in October. But that is definitely going ahead. We're definitely going to have a spring tour down under. It's going to incorporate a visit to Samoa for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. But unfortunately, the Kiwis are going to miss out. There's not going to be a New Zealand leg. And this is definitely because of concerns over King Charles doing a bit too much. He's going to have to sort of rein it in, as it were, on doctor's orders. And I think, we've seen this over the last few weeks that King Charles is out and about. He's definitely getting back to public duties. But I think, if we're going to extend this tour to maybe 3 weeks, it'll probably be a step too far. So no doubt he'll try and get to New Zealand in the coming years. But definitely I'm going to get down to see you guys as part of the Aussie and Samoa tour in October.
And the news here is, well, if he doesn't go to New Zealand, he's got plenty of time to be in Sydney for the Everest, which is a huge horse race here. And given it's the week of Royal Ascot, I think that all fits in nicely as a yarn. So let's see if we can make that all happen. But in a packed week for the Royals, it was also Garter Day on Monday. Can you explain to our audience how important Garter Day is and what were the highlights for you this year?
Well, it's certainly a spectacle. I mean, it's the plume hats, the sort of stockings, the big robes, and people wonder what on earth is going on most of the time. But it's the oldest order of chivalry in the world, dating back to the 1300s. We've seen a lot of members of the royal family out in force. We saw the King and Queen. Princess of Wales, of course, would have been there if she wasn't taking this leave of absence to undergo her cancer treatment. Prince William was there, of course. And it's an opportunity to sort of recognise the sort of great and the good in British society. And Lord Webber was there. He was being honoured as a member of the Garter, the famous composer, of course. And, the pomp and pageantry that we've come to expect over the last few weeks with Trooping in the Colour was back out in force for the Order of the Garter ceremony.
It really was. And you guys, look, you don't get everything great, and obviously, the football game wasn't fabulous, but you do your pomp and pageantry like no one else. As I mentioned at the top of the show, there's also a general election on foot, and the royal family has received a couple of notable mentions on the campaign trail this week.
Well, they have. I mean, it's certainly something that the royal family tried to sort of distance themselves from when the general election was announced. It's going to be on July the 4th, and it was just announced a few weeks ago. The royal family had to sort of rearrange their diary. They can't be seen to sort of be currying favour with any sort of political party, of course, apolitical as the royal family are. But the royal family have come in for a bit of a takedown. There's a woman called Jo Hart, an MP, who's saying that the royal family should actually be banished, that they're a benefit scrounging family. We shouldn't be having them in the modern world. Another guy called George Galloway, an MP, who's very controversial on these shores, saying that we should banish the monarchy and have Princess Anne as president. So I suppose while we don't agree with all of that, I reckon a lot of people would fancy Princess Anne as heading up a presidency if that was going to be coming to our shores.
Could do a lot worse than Princess Anne, that's for sure. Now, also reports this week that the King is absolutely desperate to see his grandkids, Archie and Lilibet, which you can understand. It's been a very long time since he's seen them. What's in the works?
Well, very much so. I revealed just a few days ago that the King did indeed send a birthday present to Lilibet. He has only met her once. It seems an awful shame, doesn't it, that the relationship between himself and Archie and Lilibet has been very, very strained, as his relationship with his son has been very, very fractured over the last few years. And I think that the King does definitely want to see Lilibet and Archie much more. There's definitely not a love there. He definitely doesn't see his relationship with his son as should be standing in the way of his grandchildren. Hopefully that's something that can be repaired, even if his relationship isn't on the mend with his son over the next few months and years, I suppose.
Now, Russell, an interesting piece in the Mirror this week about why Harry and Meghan left the UK. What's the report, and will we ever really know?
Well, I think, they have their own reasons, don't they? And we've spoken many, many times about it. There's been a lot of poured over it about the reasons that they decided to sort of pull the trigger, as it were, and leave the royal family. There's some discussion that they left for their own sanity, that they couldn't take it any longer by being in the royal fold. And I think it's several-fold, this issue, that they didn't want to play second fiddle to William and Kate. They didn't want to sort of stitch into the hierarchy of the royal family. But certainly, I suppose that they feel that they are making a go of it in the United States. They feel that they've got a lot to offer. They've obviously made a lot of money, as we know, and as we've spoken before, Cara, but the only way that they're going to repair this relationship with the family is by sort of taking their foot off the gas, stop criticising the rest of the royals, and try and just get on with their own lives. And I think that probably will serve a lot of people a lot of good.
I think that would absolutely serve people a lot of good, but, obviously the relationship is what the relationship is at the moment, and there's obviously still some sensitivity among the royal family about whether Harry would make public any further information about the family. And look, we understand that the family are trying to manage this risk or manage that possibility, particularly in relation to another book. This was also in the Mirror this week.
Well, I suppose it's sort of the unmanageable risk, isn't it? Because we know that Harry had said that he had more than enough material to write 2 books, that he had to really sort of cut down the manuscript for his memoir Spare. And whilst, he might not be have the appetite, I suppose, to do a new book straight away, who knows what will happen in the future? And I think there's definitely the mood music from the family and from his own kin has been very much that if you want a relationship with the rest of the family, you've got to take the sting out of the tail and you've got to stop criticising them. So I think that would probably be the best advice for Harry moving forward.
I think that would be excellent advice. Russell Myers, thank you for joining us as always.